Also on the programme this evening, the former pop star highlighting pollution, saying our water company must do better.
It's out of control, it needs to be brought to heel, and it needs to start delivering not only for the people of Cornwall, but the people of England and for the future of our children.
From swimming in it to drinking it, we'll hear the water quality promises from our political parties. Next to an issue we know you really care about, and one that's firmly in the spotlight ahead of the general election, now just weeks away. Sewage spills in the sea and pollution in our rivers. In a moment, we'll hear from retired pop star and water campaigner Fergal Sharkey, who's been in the southwest. We'll get the latest on what the political parties are proposing to tackle the problem. But first, our environment correspondent Kirk England has taken a trip along the River Avon in Devon.
The story starts here, on Dartmoor.
I think the river kind of feels like the spirit of this part of Devon, really, the way it kind of just runs through the whole of South Devon and brings kind of so much life and recreational joy to so many people.
Well, I've come down the river to South Brent and stepping away from the water and up onto what is known as the island. Now, this land is totally surrounded by the River Avon.
This is a really important place for the residents of South Brent. It's kind of the beach. Kids don their wetsuits, their goggles, get right in the water here, and it's a real place of joy in the summer. For me, what's really close to my heart is how water quality affects the ecology of the rivers and the life, because without that, we would have nothing. So we want a river that's rich in insect life, and that's what really suffers once you start to add pollutants to the water. And I think there needs to be more done to control the amount of wastewater that's released by water treatment works, and that's probably one of the main problems we face on parts of the Avon, as well as helping landowners and farmers to control the agricultural pollution.
Another stop off as we move closer to the coast.
It's beautiful, isn't it? And you only got to look at the reflections on the river and you feel uplifted. It looks like a picture postcard, but it simply is not, and neither is any river. There are forever chemicals, agricultural pollution and sewage pollution, all of which need to be addressed for us to restore the health of our rivers.
And this is the River Avon's big finish.
First leg we'll be doing down there. That's where you'll acclimatise, find your pace. Lots to see in the water, a few spider crabs, they're still around.
The fact that we have such a beautiful environment in place and that sometimes we can't go in it, I think is a travesty, to be honest.
I take people swimming in there, and it's a constant monitoring of the conditions, the weather, but also, the water quality is becoming a real problem.
We love our waters, we live by the sea, we pay a lot in water rates and we expect water quality.
What needs to change? The water companies need to be held properly responsible. They need to invest in their own infrastructure rather than the priority always being to the shareholders.
South West Water says it is investing £850 million over 2 years. It also says it's committed to tackling the issue of sewage spills and storm overflows.
It seems to me that they always use when it's raining, we'll put a bit of sewage in the sea, nobody will really notice. But we do notice and we do want change.
Jessica Burgess ending that report. So what do the main parties intend to do? It's an issue at the centre of this campaign. The political activist Fergal Sharkey has been in Cornwall today. The former punk singer is a lifelong Labour supporter and has been out supporting its candidates across the region in key target seats. We asked Ben Wolvin to get past the celebrity and look for the policy.
On Falmouth's Gillingvays beach this morning, you didn't need to go into the sea to get wet. There was one Sharkey, but he was no threat to the swimmers.
My name is Fergal Sharkey. I'm here, funnily enough, to talk about poo.
The former punk singer from the 70s band The Undertones says his campaign to improve water quality has made him famous for a second time. The timing of this visit is no coincidence. He's been invited here by Labour.
I genuinely feel that the Labour Party is not the only party right now that's really going to start holding these companies to account, start rebuilding a regulatory system and provides a system that stops polluting our environment.
The fan who wanted his old album signed, someone whose livelihood depends on this.
It needs some regulation.
Chris Ranger sells oysters caught from the Fal estuary and says the Conservatives haven't been tough enough on the water industry. But they say they've done more than any previous government.
In 2010, only 7% of storm overflows were monitored. That's now 100%, which means that we are in a position to issue fines to water companies, and those fines are now being reinvested back into projects on our waterways to actually improve the quality of our rivers.
The Green Party says it would stop sewage discharges like this one at Cornwall's Harlem Bay last summer by taking the water companies back into public ownership.
We're fed up that we can't do the activities that we want to be doing, whether it's wild swimming, surfing, paddleboarding, or just letting your kids splash around in the sea.
Water quality has been a big part of the Lib Dem campaign too, with a promise of a sewage tax on water company profits.
We have a plan that we believe will prevent the water companies from continuing to release sewage. We will ban executive bonuses as long as there is sewage release. And importantly, we would get rid of the existing regulator and replace it with a new regulator with actual teeth and the ability to go after the water companies and fine them when they are polluting our waterways.
There was no fighting on the beaches today, even when we introduced Mr. Sharkey to someone planning to vote Lib Dem.
Why?
Meanwhile, the water companies say they're spending more than ever on work to reduce the use of storm overflows, but they know there's more to do. Ben Wolvin, BBC Spotlight, Falmouth.